Guys, we have the last symbol, the last icon, and I don't know what is happening. I don't know what this is. Of all the symbols, all the icons we could have gotten, this is definitely the most confusing one. The one that could have literally, I think they just grabbed, they did all the icons, and then the most confusing one they put at the end just to fuck us over, guys. That's what I think. But we're gonna go through all the poems, even the one that we got today for the arrow, and we're gonna put them in the correct spot. And I'm gonna leave in the comments down below a tier list so you can vote for the one you think is this one and all of the other ones too. So at least even if I'm not wrong, maybe you guys will be correct. Subscribe to the channel for daily slop. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning. See you guys around. Love you all. Wait, no, that's for the end. And let's get into it. There we go. I'm slopping too hard. I can't. I'm confused. Let's first talk about this particular symbol. So what do we see? We see a shield. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 holes on it, and it's very worn out. You can see it because there's like lines over here, lines over there, and there's even this like almost like claws in the middle of it, like some sort of demon trying to get through, which is very interesting. Now, what does this all tell me? Let's go first for the possibilities for this particular icon. The first thing that came out of my mind was that this could indeed be Paragon. Why? Well, because Paragons do indeed possess shields. They're way different, they're way bigger, but they do indeed possess them. So it could definitely make a lot of sense, especially with those little, look at those little holes, guys, right there. Why are those holes there? That's for the spear, the Paragon spear that goes through those little holes. Just like this ones right here have. They can poke the spear through the hole while defending yourself right there, you know? It actually does make a lot of sense. That being said, I really struggle with this because, well, we have this one too for Warrior and of course for Paragon. That symbolizes Paragon way better, I think, with the feathers. It's still a possibility, I think, but I don't know. I really don't see this being Paragon. I think it's I think it makes a little bit of sense, but this is just so obviously Paragon that I can't say anything else. But you know, you guys can make your mind. The other option would to me be something like NG. Why? Because it kind of looks a little bit like a turret. This kind of turret, of course, very ancient, of course, and engineers do have this as well. They have turrets in the game. It could be some sort of turret mancer that just transforms all those little turrets into something bigger, which would be very cool. I really like that idea for engineer, where we have kind of the AFK spec with mechanist, and in a lot of ways it would be very bad for the game because AFK farmers would even get higher, you know, more strong. But the idea of having some sort of Heimerdinger would be so cool. So I'm not really. I think it's possible, but at the same time, I think it's way more likely for this to actually be engineer, as you know, it just makes more sense overall for it and the symbol that he has here. And I think I'm stretching it a little bit with this turret mancer idea and this icon. I think they would have gone for something else instead of a shield. The next one though is Ranger. It could indeed be Ranger instead because of those marks here. I feel like they wanted to symbolize that something beastly in some sort, you know, has actually damaged this shield. And who is gonna interact with beasts a lot? Yeah, probably Ranger. If they just wanted to show a damaged icon, they could have just, you know, put 1, maybe even 2, but 3, it looks like claws. It does feel almost like they're like demonic claws more than anything, though. Like some sort of like vampire with very long fingers or whatever. So maybe this would go somewhere else, like maybe even a Revenant as well, but I think this is the one that makes the most sense. And the last one, and I think this is probably the correct one, it's Guardian. Why? Because it's a shield. And, well, Guardians have shields. And it even looks very similar to this the core icon right here. Like, look, the form it has is just exactly the same, and it could just be a very worn out guardian defeating demons. It would make a lot of sense, and mainly because everything that we talked about before was leaving Guardian with nothing, right? Like all the predictions, you know, putting this on Revenant, putting this on Necromancer, putting this on Bard, putting this on Thief, putting this on Ranger, and putting this on Ellie. All the poems kind of work a little bit like this, right? The Bard poem doesn't really say anything. Life floats by, my heart drifts with the clouds. It's just very bardy thing. The warrior one, well, sorry, the helmet one, armor turns into feathers, mountains turns into sword blades. Obviously works very, very well with Paragon, so it makes a lot of sense. This one right here, silver flow in 1,000 shapes, summon shadow shaping attack, talking about the symbolization of the process of sublimation from solidification to fluidity. Makes a lot of sense for an alchemist, for an engineer. So this, and this just make a lot of sense already with the poems. The card ones being 1,000 devious schemes are concealed as the heavens turns, one falls into a trap. Very thief-like, so it makes sense to have it right here. This one right here, with sharpened will I cleave the wind, in pursuit of shadows I steer the waves. Very edgy, very much a symbol that you would see in Revenant. It just makes a lot of sense. The one for the dagger, through rights the unseen yields valor's fire melts the eyes. I mean, this one is just, this is the one it is. There's no, it's obvious. And we didn't know about the Guardian one, but there's this one and this ones are very weird. I think we could maybe move them the other way around, maybe. This one right here talks about healing the wilderness and having order in nature. It does mention the word element, so it could definitely be elementalist, or sort of a spiritual elementalist instead of well, elemental one. And this one that we just got yesterday says the divine wind decrees the clouds, mists gather and pierce the heavens. Talking a lot about like the almost like revolutionizing itself against the heavens, piercing the heavens, destroying the heavens, which is an interesting idea because we know that there's a lot of symbolism with these feathers and Dwayna and harpies. So it could be the harpies themselves fighting against the heavens and the power that they were given by Dwayna. And honestly, it could be Ranger, but it almost doesn't fit. You know, for me, in a lot of ways, this sounds more like Guardian, but then would this really go here? And also this doesn't really sound like Ellie to me, it sounds more like Ranger. So it could be, but there's a few possibilities here. I think there is the possibility that this is Guardian because of the stretch marks, the claw marks, and this is Guardian because of the whole Seraph Dwayna kind of thing, and it's like some sort of garden harpy going against its mother, you know, against Dwayna. I think that idea could work, and these other things work out well as well. The Ellie, maybe not that much of a fan, but it makes sense to be here. But there's also another possibility where this goes here and we change some things up. I think, yeah, Ranger could be this and it would make sense with the poem, and then maybe this goes here just as a Guardian, but then we have a little bit of a change here. Maybe we have Elementalist with the Oracle spec, and then this being the Thief spec with all the blades, maybe it's some sort of assassin, just like we had in Guild Wars 1. And this is also piercing the heavens. There was a particular post in Guild Wars 2 subreddit talking about this spec being a Revenant spec, that you just summon Dwayna as a legend or some sort of big harpy. And it would make sense, especially when we see that the poem for it talks about mists. Now it talks more about mists in the mountain being another connection to harpies, but it could also talk about bringing Dwayna from the mists or the power from the mists, just like Revenant does. So yeah, I think there's two possibilities. It's this one where we have Elementalist with the bunny, we have Revenant with this, we have Gambler Thief, which honestly maybe I don't like the logic behind the poems, but I just want this to be the case so I can get Gambler Thief, honestly. And then we have Ranger with this, and then Guardian with the shield. And you can switch this over and everything else fits well. If you don't like it this way, you can just switch it up and it's fine. And then you have this other possibility, which is the least likely one, but the one that I think makes more sense with the poems, which makes this being Elementalist, this being the mist's bow that pierces the heavens, this being a shield Guardian, this being some sort of assassin with traps for a thief, just like the poem, and these are signifying the blades of the assassin, and this is the Oracle from Waiting Sorrow, predicting the future with the stars and using the cards to destroy their enemies with traps of, you know, the future or whatever. I think these are the two big possibilities. Maybe, honestly, maybe we wouldn't even know tomorrow. Maybe they'll talk about the expansion and not release any update on what specs are what, which would be very, very funny and would give us even more slop. Oh my god, so fun. But I think this is the most likely two possibilities right here. But I want you to go and vote now on this tier list that I have, that I made for you guys to vote on. It seems like people have made their decisions already with my Twitch chat. They have voted already, and you can see all of these ones right here. It seems like they're going for the most likely one that I talked about, and I think they're probably gonna be right. Ranger here, Garden here, but we have an entire day for you guys to vote and change the way this looks, and I'm very interested to see what you guys say. So go there, I'll leave it in the comments down below so you can go vote. Tell to your friends, tell everyone, so you can vote. I'll probably spam it in some Twitch chats or whatever. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Tell me what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. And go check new Guild Wars 2 content creator tier list from Silhouette Gaming, where I appear, and it's a very, very good video. Heavily recommended. Go check it out. I'll leave it in the comments down below too. See you guys around. Love you all. Ciao, ciao.